everybody is just scrambling for every last dollar, and people can't retire because they don't know if their savings are how long their savings will last because they're gonna be debased.
What should be the appropriate Bitcoin allocation?
The Bitcoin price is roughly at 100K.
Right.
I think a lot of people were anticipating it for it to be a lot higher by now. People
Are talking about diminishing returns. They're saying the cycles. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so look, it's doing just what it should be doing. The next stop is at 140. People ask me, what do you think the best thing about Bitcoin is? I'd say the best thing about Bitcoin is that it might end wars.
미국의 대표적인 투자자이자 펀드 매니저인 레리 레파드는 거시 경제 분석가로 활동하고 있는 인물입니다. 통화 정책의 실체와 인플레이션의 위험, 사운드 머니, 비트코인의 필요성에 대해 날카롭게 고찰하며 비트코인 투자 펀드를 운영 중입니다. 또한 현재 금융 시스템은 신뢰를 잃었고 그 해답은 탈중앙화된 디지털 자산에 있다고 주장하며 비트코인을 강력히 옹호 중이죠. 이런 그가 법정화폐 시스템에 왜곡된 점, 금 본위제의 실패를 언급하며 비트코인 가치관 전환에 대한 이야기를 전합니다. 비트코인은 전쟁도 멈출 수 있는 잠재력을 가지고 있다고 말하며 비트코인의 공정성 그리고 다음 목표 가격을 제시하며 긍정적인 전망을 얘기합니다.
Let's talk a little bit about the middle class upbringing, because I think that's something that has completely been gutted because of essentially the fiat system. How will Bitcoin bring that back?
Well, you know, it'll create fairness across the board. People won't have to worry about money. People will be able to retire again. It's just going to be a fair world. It's going to be a better world. We're all going to benefit from this technology. There's so many great things happening in the world, Nico. I mean, think about what technology has done. I mean, think about all the benefits we've had. Think about how TVs and, you know, I was saying earlier today, I remember being in college as a freshman and long distance calls were expensive. So I got to talk to my parents once every week for 5 minutes because, you know, that was all I wanted to spend on long distance phone calls. Well, your phone calls now are effectively free anywhere in the world, right? This is the benefit of technology. That's coming to all of us. So all of our lives are going to get much better as a result of the technical innovations that we're seeing right now, okay? But to make sure they're fairly distributed, we got to have a fair system, or else the guys at the top are going to keep raking off, and, you know, all of their piece. And benefiting at the expense of the rest of us. And that's what's going on.
Absolutely.
Now. So, I mean, I know, and I think you feel this way too. And if you talk to Bitcoiners, I mean, I'm so hopeful and so optimistic and so positive. I mean, just having that, just knowing that your purchasing power was going to be preserved, it's a very powerful thing.
Do you think, Larry, do you think that, because you've identified one of the things that I appreciate about the gold bugs, right, and the whole gold movement is that you guys really started this, the whole idea of sound money.
Yeah.
And you guys really identified the problems very accurately. Where do you think gold came up short?
So politically, they figured out how to neuter it. I mean, right?
How did they do that exactly?
Well, they paper gold, going off the gold standard, fractional reserve banking. I mean, it's a long litany of tales. A lot of it's laid out in the book, though, so you'll get a picture of how they did it. But gold failed. I mean, it's hard to verify, it's hard to transfer, it's heavy. You can cover tungsten in gold. I mean, there've been fake gold bars. It just didn't work. And we moved to a system of ledgers and credits, and we moved to a fractional reserve banking system that basically allowed the banks to create money at will. And so what happened is they got way ahead of the gold supply and the money effectively became unsound. Now, Lynn would argue that had to happen at an engineering level no matter what. And she may be right. I would argue that there were places where politics intervened and shoved it ahead. The biggest one being 71. I mean, Nixon had it. I mean, a lot of people say, well, Nixon had to do what he did. And that's not true. Nixon could have let the gold price float. We would have had gold as a neutral reserve currency, and we would not have had the inflation that we've now had.
Yeah.
I mean, so there were two pieces to it. There was politics, and then there was some of just the development of technology that kind of left gold in the dust. I mean, you know, once the telegraph got developed, I mean, before that, gold was shipped overseas. I mean, the Pony Express originally, watch Butch Cassidy. I mean, they were blowing up the trains that carried the gold with the payroll. Do you know what I mean? I mean, gold was money, and you had to move it around for final settlement. Well, you had a telegraph, and suddenly you could start keeping a ledger.
Does Bitcoin replace gold? Do you see it reaching the market cap of gold? Do you see it reaching the market cap of gold very quickly?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's actually arguably a lot closer than people think. So the market cap of gold right now is about $18 billion. The market cap of Bitcoin is about $2 trillion. My market cap of Bitcoin, as we know, is about 2 trillion, round numbers. But if you think of that 18 trillion of gold, really only about a quarter to a third of it is in bars and coins that you and I can buy. So about a quarter of it's in antiques and in museums and antiquities. So, we're not going to go melt down the gold in the British Museum, right? It's staying there. About a quarter of it's sitting in central banks. banks. Oh, actually a little less than a quarter. And then the balance is around women's necks in,
Really?
well, in India and China and here. I mean, it's jewelry. And by the way, if it gets high enough, I mean, you're going to see women, selling their gold jewelry. I mean, $89,000 an ounce. I'm guessing there's some bracelets that'll get turned in. But so my point is that to flip gold, let's say the investable gold is 4 to 6 trillion, and the investable Bitcoin right now is, 2 trillion, maybe 3x from here, and Bitcoin is kind of flipping the investable gold, right? Interesting numbers.
Absolutely. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is roughly at 100K.
Right.
I think a lot of people were anticipating it for it to be a lot higher by now. People
great.
were talking about diminishing returns. They're saying the cycles. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so look, it's doing just what it should be doing. It's just marching up relentlessly. The drawbacks are slow. We were at the 58K club for a while. We went to 100. That's a nice move of 42 grand. We're now building up what in technical investing analysis they call a flag between kind of 90 and 106. Okay, let's add another 42 to that. I think the next stop is at 140. I mean, to me, these flags with moves, this is very good, healthy, constructive development. When we go from, let's call it 140 to 250 really fast, which might happen, my sense is it's going to be ahead of itself.
Okay.
And that's when you might, I don't know what the top of this cycle is. I mean, I look at a lot of things, including the power law and historical cycles and how far it comes off the base. Feels to me like the top of the cycle is between 200 and 300, and then we'll have a pullback. But I think the pullbacks are getting smaller. And I think at some point, this power law model is going to break to the upside, and we're not going to have pullbacks, because at that point, this is Parker Lewis's, the gradually and then suddenly. I mean, the suddenly phase, Saylor made this point when I was on stage with him in Madeira, and he said, look, I can see what's going to happen. We're going to go to 300. A lot of people think, holy shit, this has been amazing. I'm selling now. That's going to be a mistake. And it's going to go to 700 and a million. They're not going to be able to get back in.
결국 레리 레파드는 비트코인은 망가진 법정화폐 시스템에 대한 대안으로 공정한 사회, 지속 가능한 부의 저장을 가능하게 하는 기술적 해답이라고 얘기하죠. 현재 법정화폐 시스템은 인플레이션을 통해 경제를 혼란스럽게 만들며 금은 더 이상 실질적 화폐가 될 수 없다고 말하며, 반면 비트코인은 디지털 금이자 새로운 통화 질서로 신뢰할 수 있고 구매력을 보존하는 자산이라고 강조합니다. 또한 이번 사이클은 14만까지 상승할 것이라는 전망도 함께 내놓았습니다. 우리는 객관적인 시각으로 투자를 해야 하고, 지금 당장만 보고 투자할 게 아니라 미래를 보고 투자를 해야겠죠. 010-2472-0429 전화번호로 탈게 및 적어서 문자 보내주시면 2025년 비트코인과 코인 시장에 대한 분석, 정보들 공유해드리겠습니다. 현재 우리에게 중요한 것은 이러한 정보를 어떻게 활용할 것인가입니다. 지금까지 영상 시청해주셔서 감사하고요. 다음에 더 좋은 영상으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다.